not. Kathy said.
Well, that's
6:59. If somebody's on YouTube Live and they just went to get a quick glass of water and missed the
You can have complaints or not, then you already start yourself.
so long as 30 seconds I haven't seen it. Call the meeting to order and we'll start with an invocation.
Almighty God of the universe, all the way to the cross at the center of history, we thank you for the fresh 9-day start to June. We thank you that in the clarity of how you reveal yourself, we know what June really is about. We thank you for the combination of sunshine and rains that you've been giving us. And we seek your wisdom in the midst of the city council chambers and in the people that have been committed to our fair community in this room in so many different ways and functions and services. So thank you for your Emmanuel presence here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Go ahead and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's meeting on this beautiful June night. We will go ahead and move on to the next item, which is to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
second.
Motion Mary, second John. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Brings us to approving tonight's consent calendar, which are the minutes of our May 26th meeting and the payment of bills.
So moved.
Second.
Motion John, Blake. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That brings us to item number 5, which is to review and discuss 2027 through 2031 capital improvement plan.
So in your packet is basically our first opportunity to take a look at the 5-year CIP that we'll bring to the council for approval later here this summer. I'll kind of run through 27 probably in a little bit more detail and then touch on some of the items the years after that. And, basically this process gives us an opportunity to put everything down on paper that we know of today. There's things that do come up, but a lot of the items that are out here feed into the budget. Some of them don't make it into the budget, depending on how that goes, and gets kicked back to the following year. So 2027. Basically what we're looking at is, some replacement dollars for mobile radios at the fire department, some investigative software for the police department, squad car. We've been leasing squad cars for a number of years, and the organization that we lease them from is now going to start charging for idle time. So if the car's basically operating at less than 30 miles an hour, it's considered idle time. Our current squad that's coming towards the end of its lease would be in excess of $80,000 for idle time plus the lease if we paid that. Obviously they want to get out of leasing squad cars. So I think we're going to need to look at going back to purchasing and owning our squads. Otherwise, it's going to bankrupt us.
We don't really have an option there. It sounds like they're kind of forcing us to go that direction.
I think and let the chief, speak on it too, but, it seems clear to us that they don't want to be in the leasing business for squads anymore. They'll do it if you're willing to pay the price. And the challenge with the squads is if you shut them off but leave all of the technology on, it just takes the battery down. If you shut everything down and then respond to a call, you've got to go back in and do all the logins, VPNs, everything else to get everything back up and running.
So that's why they're always running.
Yeah, it takes there's one of the cars, we have 5 or 10 minutes if you leave it off.
Huh.
It's dead. And then the other problem is when you have to go to jumpstart it, because it died, it fries the computer and shuts the camera off. So it's just not a good situation.
We're thinking a big solar panel on the roof. Office computers, we're going to be forced to update all those desktop machines in there. Squad cameras, we're kind of basically on a cycle replacing squad cams. And then, much to our dismay, body cams are back on there. Seems like we just got the ones that we do, but the support is gonna go away here in a couple of years, so.
So with the squad cars, this is replacing one, but the other one will still be on lease and then we'll have to pay those extra dollars? Or not, until,
I think it's when the new lease is up.
Or this year, somehow. And then the following year, because one of our leases runs out in August.
but they aren't gonna add that extra little surcharge, are they? Once,
Not until
if you redo it. Okay,
If it's a new lease.
yeah. Because I don't think we can do 2 in a year, so.
Yeah, and this was brought to our attention after we had budget stuff pretty much set for 2026. So we're gonna have to have some conversations and look at what we can do for squad to replace this one that leases up here in 2026, so.
Yeah, I just needed clarification.
We probably got the option to buy it. How many miles would be on that car?
I think we're at 70-ish thousand, but they don't buy them back now, you have to buy them on Indeed.
No, but I mean, you can't just buy them outright?
No,
They go back onto the new bid site, and to be honest, neither one of them that we have right now, I want. They've been in trouble.
I mean, with 70,000 miles, that's nothing, on a car today, nowadays, I mean, that's nothing. I mean, it probably costs what, $3 or $4 grand to switch all the equipment out, or more than that, probably, yeah.
Into a new car?
Yeah, into a new car.
Yeah, I think we paid 2,500-ish to set up. and stuff.
if it's the same model,
Yeah.
so that the same equipment can be transferred over into it. But we'd have to take all of that out at the end of the lease to send it back down to St. Paul for them to put on an end and then reinstall it. Or you could leave it in there, but take a chance that you're not gonna buy it,
I wouldn't want to buy either one of these.
Yeah. Maybe share all the equipment that's in those things.
We have the mobile camera, which runs anytime the spot is on, and it activates anytime the lights come on, or our body camera is activated. We have the radio, we have the charging devices for our VPNs and those kinds of things. Are you talking about things that are running off the
Laptop,
which, we used to not rely on hardly, but now that we have computer-aided dispatch, we're dead in the water without it. Chris, what am I forgetting? Radar, gun mounts. But those things continually are on when the car is on. And we do have a toggle, we can switch some of the stuff on and off. still drains, and we've brought it to our outfitter, I don't know how many times to try to find if they can figure out where the drains are coming from. And it's us and every other department in the world that are trying to figure that out, because it's just a constant drain on it. But it's a lot of stuff, like, the state's changed, how we have to log into our computers now, so we have to do factor authentication, we have to use a VPN. So we just, you know, if you think, okay, I'm gonna flip on my computer and go, but you flip it on, connect it to the air card, to the VPN, and you gotta go in and do a factor, then you gotta connect it to Todd County. So I mean, it takes a few steps to get logged in, or it's not a fast process if you're in emergency or.
And each officer's shifts change, then they have to log out, and then the new one has to log in.
Yep.
That's time consuming too.
Right, and the cameras, you know, you have to sync your body camera and the squad camera and the squad itself so that it syncs with the microphone and recording devices. It's a lot of technology that we used to have to worry about, now it's gotta have it.
And the manufacturer isn't adding anything to help you out either.
No.
Like boosting the, so that it wouldn't go down, I don't know.
No, and it's kind of gotten down to where there's only a few companies that own a few things, you know. Used to be, you had a lot of options, and now it's down to Motorola and a couple other, you know, Axon and things like that, where they kind of own the market, and you can buy one or the other.
Hope for the best.
Yeah,
Once you buy it, you've got it. You're in bed with it.
and you'll ask them, I want to buy the most current version, and then you buy it, and then they tell you, oh yeah, in 4 to 5 years it will be supported, which is what they did with our body cameras.
So what's the expected life of, do we have them 4 or 5 years, or
Body cameras,
that and the squad cars?
the squad cars are every 3rd year,
Okay.
and then the body cameras are 5. Hopefully. I think we're on year 3 with our body cams.
Mm.
You're gonna keep pricing the small towns right out of the police business. They're gonna end up contracting with the counties or something because you won't be able to afford it. That's a lot of money, you know?
Anything else on public safety stuff?
No, sorry,
Okay.
just had it.
We'll jump down. Park and Rec, some of these items are a repeat that you'll recognize from year to year and from previous years, but playground equipment, we'll carry some of that forward. Plan on doing another park here next year or two.
So that money is place marked, whatever you call it, for a new piece of equipment. But if we need to improve or fix stuff, that's a different budget item somewhere else, right? That's,
Right.
yeah, okay.
And we've been, I think, for probably, 4 or 5 years, been budgeting, for playground equipment.
Yeah, yeah.
Every year, and it's not necessarily every year that we replace one,
Sure.
but sometimes it
Replace it.
takes, almost 2 years of allocation to cover it. We do try to get grant dollars from the Sourcewell or Community Foundation as well. Golf cart, the old golf cart is still going, so hopefully we'll keep going. We won't have to get one out at Tower. The last 2 or 3 years have been doing picnic tables and garbage cans, just kind of steady working on maintaining those. I got on 2027 here, caboose painting. Hopefully it will come off here still in June. I emailed the guy. He was going to do it in June before he started a big July project. So hopefully that will be done. Get into street, mower replacements, sidewalk overlays, seal coat are all items that, basically we do every year. And you'll see that repeating as we go. Hot water pressure washer in here, stump grinder, brush cutter, And then the other one that we threw in here, and we think that we'll be able to do a fair amount of this on our own. Back when the overpass project was put out to bid, it came in above the engineer's estimate, and we had to cut a couple of things out of that have already been designed. One of those was the connection between Airport Road over to Second and over to Third Street, along the north side of the football field there. We'd like to get that done. It's obviously a great access point to get people in and out of, all of the schools, but primarily high school. And I think also it's an opportunity for fire trucks to be able to turn on Fourth, cut across, get to Airport Road, get out of Dodge. They're going south. So we threw a number in there as a possible 2027 project.
Wasn't that discussed at one time, and the school had some money to contribute to that?
We've talked with the school about it. They would like to see it done, and it'd be roughly about half probably that the school would end up paying. But they really do want that street in there.
Would that-
Huge from a traffic flow standpoint.
Go ahead, Tom.
The city's gonna build that, or we're gonna hire that done?
Well, I think, and Scott can jump in here, but I think we can probably do, we did Summit up there,
Right.
one block of Summit.
Yeah,
We may have to, have contractors do certain things, but, we think we can subcut that and do a good portion of it. Obviously not the tarring, but
right. Would build the road bed basically.
carry the following year just to make sure everything, all the compaction is good, so.
Would some of that maybe fall under safe routes to school if we, as far as like some of the funding to get that done, is it possible that could be?
I don't know if it would, unless we put a trail or, a separated trail
Yeah, it's
along
true.
that, but,
Yeah, 'cause elementary kids aren't driving cars.
yeah. The Safe Routes to School plan, the last one that was done had a connection off of Legacy Trail at Third Avenue, and then another one up by the Judicial Ditch north of the elementary school.
Yeah.
That came in and tied. And then, of course, the Fourth Street project is addressing that whole segment on the west side of Fourth Street, from that sidewalk down, which was, I think, part of, one of the original Safe Routes plans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, chipping away at it bit by bit. Sewer, look to do the second half of those air release valves. And Fourth Street Southwest, sanitary sewer, and you'll see this also in water. That's by far the biggest problem that we have down there right now. If the South Side project as a whole were to get funded, this would just roll into that. If that project as a whole does not get funded, we feel we need to do that block regardless. Manhole lining, we try to do one every year, so get that in there again. Blue is the water plant equipment, water meters, AMI, center column rebuild down at the water plant, pickup truck. There's Fourth Street Southwest in there again, and then also do the mixer in the water tower. Red is light. We've got light shop building. We've got some dollars budgeted this year for engineering and all of that. We don't have estimates or complete design or anything, so the dollar amount in here for 2027 is essentially a placeholder. We'll carry over into that. Trailer with wire reels on it. Kind of some repeat items that you'll see year to year that have been in here for a couple of years. Underground improvements, just allocating some capital dollars towards that. Transformers, possibility of a digger derrick truck that may slide down. into 28, but we'll look and see where we're at. 8th Street Northeast underground improvements, and trying to make more and more of an effort to get electrical lines underground that are inaccessible, either due to soft ground, no alley or road access, any of that, trying to bury those, so it's not an issue. And then, you know, kind of that tail end of the AMI project. So that is what we have on here for 27. A little bit, you know, some airport stuff, new website, and the 14.9 million in 27 is if the South Side project is funded.
When do
That's
we,
the current estimate for that.
what's the timeline on that? I mean, 2027, we have it on, but what's the timeline for finding out, or that whole funding cycle, or, you know?
Last time it was nowhere near when it was supposed to be, so I don't know.
They didn't pass a bonding bill. So there's a good possibility of getting the funding, we have a project ready, but I can't remember if it was October, November.
When we would find
They
out.
tell us it was, first it was July, and then it kept moving on. And it seems to me like it was October when we had some certainty.
So that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, it was, and I think that was later than it was supposed to be
Oh, yeah,
by
yeah.
far, so. Jumping to 2028, in fire, turnout gear, radios, we put just threw a number in there for fire hall exterior, you know, doing something with the steel, getting some leaking, on that, probably screws, but we don't know for sure. PD, K9 squad, forensic subscription, and body cams again on that. Street, mower, sidewalk replacement, overlays, seal coating. See more and more of these repeat items as we get further out. Lift station, manhole, the water plant, the high service pumps, rebuilding, one of those. Utility locating equipment, water meters. I'm just gonna go through and kind of pick out some of the ones that are not repeat. North substation upgrades, we're gonna start working on doing, you know, some replacements, stuff on that substation. And so you'll see that, you know, in 28, 29, 2030 as we go through this. 27, you'll notice that we did not have community center improvements. Hopefully we will be okay. We gotta catch up again on our sales tax revenue after the locker room and boiler project. But look at probably doing some of the HVAC stuff for one of the HVAC items in 28. We've got an item in there on Dower Lake softball fields that we've had, you know, that's been carried forward over and over. Softball league play is almost a thing of the past right now. Lefty still has a tournament out there, but if that comes back, it's really some time and money spent out there in the softball fields. See, in 2028, we've got that South Side project listed on there. That definitely would be something that carries over if it's done in phases. 2029 tasers, you see squad in there again, radios, tentatively have the 97 pumper truck in there, replacement of that for 2029. I think the street stuff is repeat payloader replacement is in there for 2029. Bucket truck for the light, replace the trencher that we currently have in 2029. again, more substation stuff as we get into 2030. And for the most part, it's kind of repeat stuff 5 years from now. We just don't know at this point.
What's the park expansion there in 2029?
That's one we've had in there for a while. You know, if the park, if Dower Lake is expanded. in
Oh,
acreage
that's the park,
to-
yeah. Okay.
And I can't remember if it's 60 acres. I can't remember for sure what the acreage is. If you get over a certain number of acres, you can qualify as a regional park and be
Yeah.
eligible for a lot more funding through legacy grants and that type of thing.
That's basically what we talked about years ago, was the expansion towards the, what direction that
To
is?
the east.
To the east,
Yeah.
towards that property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other side of our fence.
Other side of the fence.
So, but this will be back on the council agenda. Look, take a look at it. If you have questions on stuff, let myself or any of the department heads know. And we'll be talking more about it.
Any other questions? Thanks for going through that. We'll move on to item number 6. Consider resolution 2037 declaring the official intent to reimburse certain expenditures from proceeds of tax exempt bonds to be issued by the city.
So a copy of the resolution is in your packet. We've already done one of these for the 4th Street project. We did it in December. The resolution didn't have the level of detail that our financial people wanted to have, so they're requesting that we redo it, just to keep bond people happy. So I would recommend approval of that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion John, second Mary. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item is item number 7, consider resolution 2038 authorizing mutual aid.
Copy of 2038's in your packet. So this initially came up, Cole had brought this up after some of the after action report. Cole, is that the right term? After getting it. From that big storm up in Bemidji last year. And there are some communities that have resolutions, others that don't. And this isn't specific to the fire department, but take Wadena tornado, for example. We sent street department people over there. We had fire department people over there at various times. And some of those are on pretty short notice. They can't plan ahead for a storm. But basically what the resolution does is, if there's a need for mutual aid, basically gives me the authorization to go ahead and send it. I didn't know we needed a resolution. I've already been doing it. And I think, previous department heads or administrators have been doing it in the past as well. If our neighbors need help, we help them. So, and they'll do the same for us. So this is, pretty general in nature, but I would say probably 90% of the mutual aid stuff outside of our Todd Wadena mutual aid for fire is FEMA disaster type stuff. We sent the truck, and I think, Blake, you were on that, up to Bemidji, and a couple of guys up there for 24 hours. We were paid for that pretty well, actually, and kind of did our part directing traffic or whatever, blocking roads. I'm not sure what all.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. So we've done that with our line guys. When we had that storm in 2015, Wadena, we also have agreements through MMUA. Wadena sent a line crew over to help us out.
I guess, it's, it's fine. I guess I don't know how hard it'd be to get the council together for 4 people to authorize it, but I mean, in some ways, I would think that that would almost be mandatory or necessary rather than just, and I don't know how far out we're gonna reach with this, you know, it seems kinda, you know, I mean, are we gonna, I know at one time we sent, I think firemen, a fire truck to California to a fire, but that got approved through the council, you know. So I don't know how,
When was that?
that was in the 80s.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was California. It might have been Montana or Wyoming, but I think it was California. I'm pretty sure it was. We shipped a truck out on the railroad and, but that all got approved. But I guess, you know, when I read it, I looked at it and I thought, there's just, it's kind of, seems like we should have, there should be some action to do it. I mean, I don't, I mean, it could be one of these deals where, yeah, go to Wadena, you know, I mean, but at what point, you know, the expense, the possibility of loss of equipment, you know, who pays for it, there could become a question of the authorization, what were you doing there, you know. I mean, everything works great as long as it works great, but as soon as things go to heck, then you got, then there's questions and somebody gets killed or hurt or,
Well, I think like with the Todd Wadena fire mutual aid thing,
Yeah.
each city is responsible for its own, own crew and its own equipment.
Okay.
Just like if they were, fighting a fire in town. We already have that mutual aid, for
Follow
Todd Wadena County, and those communities. So if there is a fire, like that apartment fire that was over in Wadena, that was covered under that mutual.
But that's a signed agreement that's between the whole
Right.
fire service and Todd Wadena.
The Bemidji thing, we sent the crew up there, it was 24 hours, they were back, we weren't, short our equipment, retained the equipment that we felt was necessary if there was a fire down here.
Did Cole, how did that work? I'm just curious, I remember that happening, but how did they contact you, Cole, and you contacted Gerald? Okay, yeah, just that there was a request for it.
They requested through the security officer.
Sure.
They contact the State Fair Chiefs Association.
Okay.
And then the regional reps. They start closest to that area and they start.
And I think that kind of goes a little bit to your concern as far as how far away we go. They're obviously the people that are coordinating the mutual aid are going to start with the neighboring communities, based on the amount of resources that they feel they need or what the duration is. They'll kind of work out.
Yeah, you aren't going to necessarily get a call from Bismarck, North Dakota,
Or how about if we got, I'm sure the electric would be involved, police department, or, so we end up with mutual aid over there and something goes haywire here, then,
That's why you don't send everybody. And like it says here, we have the
send-
authority to recall them.
and I guess I don't know. How about our insurance company? How are they on that? Do they require council approval or they request that? Or, I mean, some of this stuff is accountability. I mean, it's all fun and games till somebody loses a leg, and then everything comes back, And somebody gets hurt or somebody, ruin a piece of equipment, and where does the money come from then? I mean, I know we got insurance, but generally speaking, that don't cover much. I mean, or did in the past anyway, it doesn't always replace things that are.
Our league insurance is pretty good.
Scott, you were gonna comment on something there?
I was just gonna say the electric is almost the same as how Cole described it.
Okay. They would,
And then water as well. We have two different organizations that we're involved with mutual aid there, so they'll, MMUA will dispatch And these, as Cole said, they start with the neighbors and work their way out. Water, you know, and for electric, we only got 3 guys. It's unlikely that we would send, you know, staff very far.
Yeah, we're already.
I mean, yeah, it's just almost no chance. And plus, there's other, you know, there's enough guys to go around usually close by, so. Water, wastewater might be,
With 3 linemen, we aren't sending people to North Carolina for the hurricane or, you know,
Right.
that type of thing, because we need, you know, at least 2 guys available for
Right.
stuff.
Generally speaking, I would think we have time. I mean, you know, how long does it take to get 4 people together to do an approval on it? I mean, I don't know. I guess sometimes I kind of think that we have a purpose here. I mean, we do have, you know, there's responsibility and there's all kinds of things too, you know, that come with it. And I don't know, I guess. That's my opinion.
But I feel that we have the authority to authorize our city administrator who would be contacted and should be able to make that decision.
You had said that you had been doing this for the time you've been here and previous administrators that were doing it, you just didn't know you needed a resolution.
Right.
So, what's the purpose? Why do we need a resolution, I guess, is what I'm wondering.
I'll let Cole speak to that, you know.
Yeah, so, when we were getting our reimbursement back,
Come up on the podium so I can hear you.
Thanks.
it was brought up through HSEM when they were giving reimbursement money back. Like Gerald said, when we went to Bemidji, or we sent a truck recently to Cross Lake for their fires. We get paid very well to do that. But there was they paid everybody, but this was something that they brought up at the after-action review, was that some cities didn't have this. And that was a loophole, because there wasn't a council action or a resolution giving that administrator or chief department head the authority to send that truck.
So this is where, Doug's talking about council action on each individual. This came about because there wasn't council action to recognize that this is going on and that we.
Correct.
Okay with that. So in essence, it is a council action, but it's more of a carte blanche rather.
Correct,
than
like Cross Lake, that happened at 7 p.m. on a Saturday, I think, is when I called you guys to get a crew ready and get approval from our city administrator. So I think that would just be, this covers that until the council can, or chooses not to, and we can rescind them.
Well, if you send them, then there's no reason to have council approval anymore. It's gone and
Rescind
done,
them.
and be done is done. It's, I mean, it's not like I want to have power or anything like that. That's not my deal. But I worked for the city for a lot of years, and it seems like we're as a body, we're kind of, I don't know, we hand out lollipops in a parade or something about it. We're running out of, and I think we should be functioning, and we should make a choice, be able to make a choice of whether or not that's something that, that's our role here. We're elected by the people of the city, and I'm walking down the street, and 2 days later, and everybody goes, "Oh, what was Staples fire truck doing in, Fargo or Bemidji or whatever?" I go, "I don't know." I mean, well, what? Why don't you know? I had no idea you were in Bemidji with a truck. I had no idea. And so, I mean, kind of knowledge too. It's kind of important to have information in our situation. I mean, maybe it's people might not think this is being a city council member is just a guy who gets his picture in the paper once in a while or something or whatever. But I take it very seriously, And I don't have any problem showing up to give the okay or at least give consideration to sending our equipment and our people out of town because, like I said, it's fine, but then somebody gets hurt or killed, or a truck gets, some of our equipment gets ruined and the taxpayers now are out hanging out on a limb for replacing that and paying the bills and somebody's on work comp for the rest of their life and all that. And here, I didn't know anything about it, but I'm gonna have to answer a lot of hard questions out in the public. And I think that I have, as a member of the city council, I should have knowledge of that prior.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, that's it.
So, I'm thinking about this, you know, I mean, first of all, we trust Gerald. Gerald does a good job. He's been doing this. But maybe there's a communication where, let's say that Cole requests to go to Bemidji and Gerald gives him the okay, and Gerald just lets us know that. So we know that that's happening, you know, some sort of a communication loop so that we know that. I mean, that would be maybe a simple way for us to be informed. But,
Typically, a special meeting is gonna require a 3-day notice.
Well, I was
If
gonna
we need help from our neighbors, I don't wanna wait 3 days.
No,
for them to send it.
no, I think the communication about what you've done would help inform us so that we know.
And-
But I think the meeting thing, like Doug was talking about, getting 4 people together, I don't think it's as simple as that because I think there's rules you have to, you can't just call 4 people, have them come down here at 8 o'clock at night and say, motion passed. I think you have to have a meeting publicized. So I think there's more to it, which makes it difficult for us to act more quickly on things.
I think,
bet that there's provisions for emergency meetings that don't require 3 days notice, but it'd be easy to find out. One of them lawyers that we pay all the time, we could probably find out.
I think one thing to think about too is just the frequency of this actually happening. I mean, in 2025, the only time we sent resources outside of our mutual aid agreement was once to Bemidji. This year was to Cross Lake. Could it happen yet this year? Maybe, probably not. So this isn't like we're doing this every single Tuesday where we need to have a special meeting to approve of the police department going to Brainerd to help them out or the fire department going to Alexandria to help them out. Like, the frequency is just not there.
Right.
I think that it's good to have a discussion about it. I think it's always good for us to think about a better way to communicate, but in the end, I think we're trusting our fire chief and we're trusting our city administrator to take care of, make decisions. The council's acting on that. We're actively making an action item to say, yes, we feel those guys are in a position to do that, you know. So I think that's what we're doing as a council. That's what we're doing as a body, is we're reviewing that, we're making a decision, and we're giving them the authorization that we feel comfortable with versus them just doing it willy-nilly. That's where the resolution comes from, probably.
And I don't believe it matters whether Gerald sends them or the 4 people groups, you know, the 4 council members send them. There's always the inherent risk of injury and damage to, you know, equipment. Doesn't matter if you say yes or we say yes, that could happen. So that, I like the way it's written myself, and I think that 4-person decision or 3 or whatever it takes to pass it can happen right now. So I'm going to make the motion to approve resolution 2038.
I'll second.
Motion John, second Mary. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next point. Move on to item number 8, resolution 2039, approving a lawful gambling premise permit.
A copy of the resolution is in your packet as well as the application. This is a Fire Department Relief Association request for charitable gambling down at Bex. The Lions are discontinued their operation at Bex.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Blake, second John. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, that brings us to committee reports, and we only have one tonight, Public Works Commission.
So we have one item to discuss from the Public Works meeting. Due to debt we're incurring from the 4th Street project, it's recommended.
Sorry, nope, we're out of here. Nope, sorry.
We had a recommendation coming from the, I believe it was the PFA, that we increase our water rates for 27 by 5% and in 28 by 2%. This way, by taking on that debt, by increasing our rates by that amount, we'll still be covering all of our expenses. So with that, I did want to, I did do some comparisons. I fill out a rate study each year. It's kind of regional. And compared to other communities, excuse me, with populations less than 5,000 in this regional rate study, the median, and this is just residential, but the median for residential in Minnesota is $44.86 a month. That's for 6,000 gallons of usage, which is pretty normal. Staples is at 41. For commercial, the median was $112 a month. Staples at 103. I should have done the math and got to what it would be when we increase, but I did it for the Public Works, and I know we were still less than the median and less, in both residential and commercial. That's factoring in that the median does not change, so.
That'll bring it up to 43, so it's still below.
Yeah. So we still do have very favorable rates, and then this is just water. This does not even include sewer, so I think it's good to recognize that between our water and sewer, we still have very favorable rates, and we're in still really good positions with our water plant and our wastewater plant. We're still having some infrastructure projects done and no major, huge infrastructure concerns. We do have some on the south side, but. So with that, the commission recommended that we recommend to the council an increase of 5% in the water rates for 27 and a 2% increase for 28. And we're looking for council.
And I'm on that commission, and we did study it and had lots of conversations about it, so I will move that change.
Will that ever fall off or just be a year where it's a zero once it does fall off?
As far as like the debt or,
Debt, yeah. I mean,
that'll just, a lot of that just depends on O&M mostly. With bringing on South Side project, there's probably a good chance that we'll have to increase rates again, but still, it's a pretty modest increase. And then we increased water and sewer last year, and I think it was the first time in, if I remember right, it was 16, is that right, 2016? Maybe it was 2019 or something like that, so, I mean.
We do it with wastewater sewer rates as part of the plant, and debt service charge out there.
Yeah.
But the 5 and the 2 are basically what's required by PFA, because we need to show that we've got the debt service coverage for the financing.
Sure.
That's why we're talking about 2027 rates here, June of 2026. They want the resolution.
So it's tied to our funding,
Yeah.
the idea of these rates, to
Yeah.
prove to the funding source that we've got a way to, so. Makes sense.
I'll second Mary's motion.
Motion Mary, second John. Any further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Yeah, the rest of the stuff was pretty minor unless anybody has any questions on it. That's all I have.
Thanks, Scott. That brings us to open forum. Anyone here this evening would like to speak to open forum? If not, we'll move on to city administrative report.
I'll try to keep this short. It's kind of a long meeting today.
Oh, that's what we're here for.
Citywide cleanup, touch on the highlights, that happened on the 29th, 8.7 tons of garbage, 18, this is what they had, 18 pieces of furniture, it seemed like more when we were unloading. 11 microwaves, 22 TVs, they only had us down for a handful of mattresses, which they said 6. We had an overflowing 20-yard dumpster. So anyway, I think it went well. You know, early on, there's always the trailer that has just a hodgepodge of stuff that's totally full, and everybody's sitting and waiting. You know, but had a pretty good crew there. I want to thank you guys for sticking around and did. After that, thank Wanda and Steph, who sat down in the old bank taking money until 7 o'clock. It was literally until about 7 o'clock, the last customer came through. So, overall, went pretty good. We'll look at you know, where we're at with the finances of it. There's some things that we may have to just adjust a little bit for next year based on the fee structure from SW Recycling and Block Waste Sanitation. So, but, overall, went pretty good.
And
Pretty steady.
I think there was a lot of materials with the Staples Motley Beyond Poverty group helping clean up the city.
Yeah, they may have brought in about 6 tons all by themselves. Who knows? I don't know. We probably have this slip somewhere.
But that's been a good addition, and community members helping with that.
Yeah, it's a real benefit to people that aren't able to haul stuff down themselves. Just update on the warning sirens. The second new warning siren was installed today and has been tested and is operational. So now both of those, both north sub, the Prairie, and Dower are all running. So glad to have that done with the forecast. Forestry project, the rain that we had on Sunday night was not helpful. I don't know if anybody was able to do anything yesterday, but we are intending to get working on the storm sewer from 3rd Avenue to Park, and then also the water and sewer service connections, so that we're able to get people off the temp water. And then leapfrog up to the north, the underground stuff. So it's, you know, you drive by and you're like, they didn't do anything. Well, they dig it up and then they bury it again. So they're working on it. Bike rodeo. Thank all of the support that we had at the bike rodeo, the Lions 93, the Rotary Club, Jake's Bikes comes up from Alexandria every year and does all the tune-up and repair type stuff on all the kids' bikes that need work. It's a good event, so really look forward to that every year. Community Center Open House was held last week, and I think decent attendance. People came, checked out the locker rooms, the new fitness center equipment. Again, want to thank Lakewood Health System Foundation for their support of the fitness center equipment there. It really looks nice and a lot of positive feedback on that. So, yesterday we did close on the sale of the industrial building. So Rademski Real Estate now owns that. We get to deal with all of the tenants. So that went well. Took a little longer to get to closing, just going through the process. And this Thursday at 3:30, there's a ribbon cutting down at Lakewood Iconic down at the Plaza. That internal unit
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion Mary, second down to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?